It's time for our solar upgrade, and I've got to get them all installed before I can wire them in. I've done a fair bit of wiring here on the port side, and we're ready to basically quickly install the port side region 1. We're going to have 3 regions on the boat, all of which are going to be prone to shading at some point. However, the one on the stern on the big solar arch at the back here should pretty much get away without shading, depending on whether we're heading straight into the sun or not. But we're finding we're not getting quite the amount of sun or solar at the moment that we'd like. I think a lot of it is due to the fact that we're pointing south, and our solar panels are actually angling at about 7 degrees to the south, and that is not a great solar setup. I know on our house we have a 20-degree angle directly north, and that's exactly how our sun is here in Australia. We want it facing to the north on an angle, so that could potentially explain why we're not quite getting the solar out of the 500 watts that we've got there. The other thing I noticed too, I've had some Anderson plug extensions on the MC4 connectors, and they're getting rusty, so that's obviously going to create resistance as well, and could certainly reduce our solar input. New panels are here. They're down on the boat. They came down yesterday. Actually came down 2 days ago, and they're ready to go on the roof here. So they're 1.2 meters by 1.1 meters, and they're about 16 kilos each, and they're 280 watts. So hopefully this will more than double our current solar capacity, and then hopefully if we get another 800 or 1,000 on the top there on that new solar arch, we'll be laughing. We will never need any more, and we might even be able to run an air conditioner, who knows, which I've actually got in there, which has never been installed. Jan just gave me a funny look. What was the funny look for?
What was the funny look for?
Yeah.
The air conditioner that's just taking up space in the cupboard. It's not connected.
It is taking up a lot of space in a very valuable position right beside the battery compartment, and we could be filling that with provisions for our trip that hopefully is going to begin at the end of next week. But we've got to see how that goes. Righto, so here it is. Kick-ass. We've got a lot of kick-ass stuff on this boat. We've found them very easy to deal with. They've got some great products. We've got stools, we've got solar panels, we've got battery chargers, we've got some really nice stuff, and we're very, very happy with their product, and their supply has been almost faultless. We've also got our new panel heater from Kick-Ass, so Kick-Ass, get in contact. You guys are getting some serious coverage here, and you're going to get coverage for quite a long time, provided your solar panels keep delivering. We're going to be pretty excited to have them on board. Major solar upgrade today, and of course the boat goes past just as we start filming. This panel is a 250 watt panel. It's the same as this one here over on the helm station, and it was positioned on the starboard side of the boat. Now I've just bought 2 more 280 watt panels, so they're bigger than these. These are 250 each. So I'm moving this one, or this one I've got here, to this spot here, so that this will be one region, hopefully unaffected by shading. We'll have 2 280 watt panels on the starboard side, and then I've got a whole lot more planned for along the back here. So we're aiming for about 1800 to 2000 watts or 2 kilowatts of solar. What Janet and I have just done is we've mounted the star ports. We're using the Railblazer star ports to mount these. Now you'll notice that this is going across our Traveller. Really have no choice because the Traveller actually runs across here, but this is going to sit over the top of it. But I'm going to put a fair lead in here like this, a good Ronstand fair lead right here, to keep the Traveller line down, to stop it interfering with the actual solar panel. But we've mounted the star ports, and this guy's going to sit around about here somewhere, a little bit further over. And that way it won't interfere with the Traveller lines. Really about the only way I could do it. And then I've got new wiring to be routed, so we've obviously got routing going to go down the main stanchions at the back of the boat, all nice and neat and all in waterproof connectors. And these 2 will be linked. The 2 on the port on the starboard side will be linked, and then we can work on another region later on. And that's going to essentially double our solar capacity overnight. And now that we're living on the boat, because we're leaving next week, we really need a lot more power. We've found that we're just getting down to around 30% on the batteries. We're exhausting the batteries down to about 30%, and then we're jacking them up every day with a bit of solar and some engine, and we're trying to avoid using the engines as much as possible. But now we've got the hot water on, we're actually putting in even more power, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because the hot water is now attached to the heat exchanger on the engine, and somebody's very happy.
Very happy.
Cool.
These are the new panels we brought down yesterday, day before.
So what they don't tell you on YouTube is there's some parts of the job that are just not very pleasant, and when you remove a solar panel you realise how dirty it was underneath. And I'm going to give you credit, Janet. Janet has polished the entire boat from stern to bow. Like seriously, the whole top sides are done and it looks amazing, and the only dirty patch is this. You can see the yellowing of the colour here where the panel had sat. Just giving it a quick wipe with some denatured alcohol, but I'm going to have to polish it, or you can get up and polish it because you're really good at it. Polish this section before we put it out.
I'm done.
You're done, so I've got to do it.
Yeah.
And then we've got all the old fittings from that panel over there are now here and there, because they were Sikaflexed on, and then they've got to be cleaned off before we put the new fittings on and obviously repaired. Now, I could just put the new ones on and not worry about repairing and just fill this with a bigger Sikaflex, but that's not how we roll. We like to do things properly, don't we?
Well, you do. Watch that method behind you.
But it's worth every bit fixing it, because this could create a leak. These holes here could leak through because they're obviously all the way through, and then we've got the undersides to repair as well, and that's going to take a bit of work. But for now, we'll just get the panels on today. We'll get this cleaned, get the new panels on, and then I'll start to repair these old.
When will you repair them? What, from underneath?
I'm going to get them fitted and then I'll take them off. No,
of
I'll
course,
fill these
yeah,
holes,
of
and then I'll come back later, and another day we'll take the panel off and we'll re-gel coat these holes. Mm-hmm. Look at the day, look how clear the water is behind us. It is just absolutely stunning today. It's Anzac Day here, 25th of April. It's our Memorial Day, and we just had the 3 big choppers fly over us for the ceremony down on the park, and we're headlong into trying to get out of here and waiting for a weather window. Which is not happening at the moment. There's
Beautiful weather with a northerly.
Yeah.
But we need a southerly.
Yeah,
I mean, that
southerly.
would be a direct headwind. So
we could go into it and just drive into it,
Yeah.
and probably have a nice trip motoring, but we want to take it easy, and we don't want to go out our first day and get hit by 25 nor'easter. That would be pretty ordinary.
hopefully they're not too big.
We are officially a solar farm. I've had to order this particular one. I couldn't get 2 of the other longer, narrow ones, even though they're like 30 watts less. I couldn't get them to fit on the length of the hard top, because this is going to go all the way, pretty much all the way to the end of the hard top, and 2 of those just simply wouldn't have fitted, and also give me the ability to be able to walk up the inside of the boom. I've got some OctiTread foam adhesives anti-slip, which I've decided to put on the roof here rather than put standard anti-slip, which I've actually got some pieces of the boat's anti-slip that I left for this purpose. But the OctiTread's so good, and although it's grey, it'll sort of match everything else on the boat, but it's so much easier to apply, and to be honest, the grip's better on it. And that's the stuff I used on the foam core tender. So this OctiTread foam will be perfect on the roof, and I'm just going to put some nice big long 1 metre long strips up on the roof there in between the solar panels and the boom, and that'll give me the opportunity to be able to walk up and safely handle the sail up there. I'm finding it, particularly after a polish, it's pretty dangerous up there, and I went up there the other day and almost met my maker. Had a little bit of a slip, and I was pretty lucky that I came out of it unscathed. But now with the new OctiTread up there and the new solar panels, I do need to make sure that I've got plenty of room and plenty of grip.
God, don't drop it over the side.
almost done. That is a lot of solar, and can never be enough really. And I guess, you know, that's going to well and truly see us out, but it looks so good, and it's a big array. It's basically going to really improve our power generation. Doing well, Darren.
Our electric motor.
Yeah.
Tender.
Yes, yes.
Not that we've got one.
Janet's pushing for an electric motor on our tender, but that is an option. Certainly would be a good option. Wow, I've got like fish life going crazy all around me today. There's just behind me.
An eagle ray before.
Yeah, big eagle ray swam past about 5 minutes ago. It's looking really alive today. There's so much clarity in the water. The water's just crystal clear. Could have been like this when I was moving the mooring the other day. It would have been nice. But yeah, it's all happening. We ran into a couple up here, Dean and Sarah from Brisbane. We saw them in Hobart a couple of weeks ago at Constitution Dock when we were down visiting Ellen. And they're back on their way up to Queensland from Tasmania, and they're just moored up the river here at the moment. Janet's been at me for about 18 months to get rid of one of the solar wires that I've had running around this pole over here and in through one of the port lights, and of course the water's been dripping in, and it's all been about getting the new solar on, and now we're at the point where we're getting it in. I'm just putting a heat shrink on this to make it black so it's nice up here, and I'm going to route it up into some waterproof glands up in the top, and also to give it a little bit more abrasion protection on these entries into the stainless tube here. But yeah, I've basically got the heat gun going and just putting a heap more heat shrink onto the insulation. Okay, so we're remounting the star ports. I haven't locked them in place yet. It's a simple matter of just sliding that across, and that locks in place. As you can see, they lift out. But when you slide this across, but I've still got to wire it, so there's no point in locking it down yet. And we've got our holes here going through, so we'll just whack some sticker in them now.
That's very
process.
Australian.
What's that?
No,
Wax
it's
sticker?
no. Now it's sicker, not Sikaflex.
Yeah, we always shorten everything because it's easier. A lot less effort. Comes Live Louder. It's a fastback 43. We saw her down in Hobart a couple of weeks ago when we were down there with Ellen.
That was even Hobart.
Hobart with a H, not Hobart. Slowbart we call it.
She's where Ellen lives, and they were in Constitution Dock, and they're heading north. So.
See you, Sarah.
See you, Ross. See you, Janet.
Have fun, mate.
Yeah, we will. You too.
Where's your next stop? Shell Harbour?
Hey?
Where's your next stop?
Yeah, we'll go Shell Harbour.
Yep.
Just out the bay today, and then tomorrow Shell Harbour.
Fantastic.
We're always planning to go today.
Good on you, mate.
We'll see you at the coast.
See you, Dean. See you, mate. Have a good trip. Easter 2026, bit of a wet one, and as a result, Janet and I have been on the boat all weekend. Our solar is not performing because we've only got around 500 watts. I've got another 560 watts arriving tomorrow, hopefully, and then another 800 watts coming. So we're going to have around about 2,000, 2 kilowatts, 2,000 watts of solar. But our most pressing thing that we've found is every morning Janet gets up with the dew on the boat and cleans the windows, and what we're finding is we're getting a white smear on our windows, and what that is oxidized gel coat. We have never got around to polishing the ceiling of the saloon, and as a result it's getting a bit chalky, so we're getting into it, and it's a prick of a job, and we've got a massive rainstorm coming, so we're just trying to get it clean so that when we actually go to buff it tomorrow morning, we'll be able to then seal that gel coat. Very important. We're doing a little bit of wet sanding, a little bit of 1200 grit in the places where there's little spots where the spiders are pooping on it, or where the birds are trying to get rid of any tea staining that might have occurred while I was while we've been using some self-tappers to hold some things in, and they've just rusted. So yeah, that's a secret, but anyway, it's not a secret anymore. Got a bit lazy, didn't quite finish a couple of things, got a bit of tea staining from the rust of the scale that's forming on that, but right up on the roof now is a very good thing happening. I'm very happy to say that Janet's finally getting into some polishing, but before we look at what Janet's doing, this here was all oxidized and pretty ugly, and a lot of scratches on it. And another thing we've noticed too, you'll notice right here, I've got some big 25mm or 1 inch spots of epoxy. And what that is, I'm actually putting some handrails in here so that as we come forward we can grab serious handrails. But there was a lot of scratching around here. Couldn't work out what it was, and then we worked out what it was. What was it?
My wedding ring.
Janet's wedding ring.
So I took it off.
Yeah. No, you didn't. You are never taking your wedding ring off. And people's watches, anything sharp. I don't wear wedding ring or watches. I stopped wearing a wedding ring 28, 29 years ago. Not because I wanted to, I lost it, and we've never replaced it. But that there had some serious scratches, and any sort of jewellery will scratch your gel coat. So Janet's got the enviable task, or the non-enviable task, not really sure what it is, to pick out all of the red dots that are still in the gel coat. You can see them there, they're pretty ugly. Got most of them, and that was from the mould. We never really got to clean these out and never got to get rid of them, but yeah, it's good to get rid of them, isn't it?
Yeah, and the good thing about leaving them for ages.
Yeah, leave them for ages, they will. Well, there was a layer of release agent underneath them, so they should pop off pretty easily. Yep.
Got that out.
Oh, that's great. It's good to get that out, all those little things. But yeah, there's a fair amount of areas like this. We've got a little bit of tea staining here from iron filings that might have landed when I was hacksawing a bolt off. But yeah, we're starting to get it all cleaned up. Plan for us is to sail out of here in 3 weeks, probably less than 3 weeks. So we've got quite a bit to do. But getting on top of the sealing of the gel coat is just really, really important. We've got the engines running right now. The solar's been terrible this weekend. We've had so much rain and fog and mist and virtually no solar, so had to run the engines every day. And yesterday I spent around about 2.5 hours in about 8 feet of water with my scuba gear on, trying to move our mooring over. Last weekend we had a 60 knot blow, 110, 115 kilometres an hour, a couple of gusts, and it was pretty serious, the gusts of wind that came through, and it moved our bum. So we sort of moved from this position here almost out to there, and got a little bit closer to Darren's boat. We didn't go right across, but the mooring didn't move. So over here we've got a lot of wet sanding going on, and I'm just getting rid of any little pock marks, any tiny little rust marks that I might find, and Janet's basically cleaning the ceiling here, and we're going to get this all buffed up. The other thing we did yesterday, Darren came over. He's back from Europe. Luckily got back, had to buy another ticket to get back. Couldn't go via the Middle East, and essentially couldn't get home. So yeah, $3,000 down, got home via Asia. But the other thing I did up in here is a bit hard to show you, but I'm not going to try and show you, but in here our reefing blocks are now all Orbit 40 Ronstan high load blocks with a soft shackle on them, and I was able to then install those reefing blocks, and I'm going to do the same down the back as well, just to reduce that friction. When we're reefing, I just want it to be frictionless, or won't be frictionless, but as frictionless as possible before we head off as well. So that's another massive job. Plenty more going on. We're at about 73% on our batteries. That's about as high as we've been all week, and our coffee machine died, didn't it? Yeah, month-old coffee machine. Yeah, you probably didn't hear, Janet, but we had a coffee machine, a Sunbeam coffee machine for over 10 years. Perfect. Absolutely flawless. Had it repaired once because I stuffed up. This thing's lasted less than a month on the boat, so we're going to be taking that back and trying to score another one. And yeah, without coffee machine, life's really not worth living. So we've had to get up and go for a big long walk on the beach instead of coffee in the morning, and maybe that's the secret. Back deck down here is just a brothel. I've got scuba gear here, I've got lift bags, I've got weight belts, everything down here. The tender's coming along, getting some great, pretty good results with the tender. It's really a great result, that tender. I'm so happy with it. It's a little bit of a wet ride, but you know, that's just tenders, isn't it? Probably should have put a bit more flare in the bow, but anyway, my alarm's going off to turn the engines off. They've been on for 2 hours, and we've boosted our percentage by 40%, which is 2 hours at around about 100 amps. Is an incredible result given our massive alternator system that we have here. It's effectively a generator for us. We run it during the day, trying not to annoy anybody. There's lots of boats going past, so there's a lot of ambient noise going on.
Okay, back at the polishing. I think Ross is wet sanding this top bit. Finished the front bit here, so now it's all going to drip down on there, which is not probably the best plan, but anyway. And I've just cleaned over there, so I'm just about to polish that.
Okay, we're going to put some anti-skid on the roof here, and a bit like when we did the sugar scoops, it took a lot of work to add anti-skid, and since we've built the tender, we've discovered this OctiTread foam. It is just fantastic, and we've just deliberated on how we were going to lay this up. I've only got one piece of it, but we've decided to go for 2 pieces of 17.5 centimetres wide, just so you've got enough grip here to be able to really walk up here safely. And we're going to put it off to this side so that when I come up here, we'll just put the boom over towards the port side, and then I can come up here and walk safely. I haven't glued it down yet. Okay, so this is the sort of idea that we're talking about, because since Janet has spent literally all last week polishing the boat, it's lethal up here. Thanks for making it dangerous for me. Oh, do you like my new solar panels, by the way? Kick ass! Fantastic, absolutely beautiful solar panels. But I digress. Janet can't understand that I find beauty in the solar panels. I absolutely love them. It's like a football field of free power. I'm so stoked. So we've got the whole thing working today. I've got it all wired up, and we've got another one over here. So region 1 is these 2 guys, this one and the one behind it, and then region 2 here, and then hopefully we'll have another one along the back there at some point. But I digress. Here, I think this is the best setup, and Janet's can't help herself. She just has to peel stuff away.
No, I'll do it.
Okay. She's getting a
I love doing this.
kick-ass enjoyment out of a kick-ass solar panel, because now my kick-ass solar panels are actually giving me some kick-ass power. Well, this is Janet's position all last week as she toiled and strifed while I went home and sorted things out, and it was a pretty full-on week for Janet. So yeah, OctiTread, we're going to stick these down. We're just going to have to prepare the surface, clean it with a bit of methylate spirits, then wipe it dry, and then put in a couple of lines so we know where we're going, so we can keep it dead straight. But yeah, that's looking pretty good, I think.
So Ross is cleaning the polish off the roof so that the anti-slip sticks, having polished it a week ago, is now taking it off.
Strip all the polish off. Oh, Jesus, it's slippery though. It is lethal. Whoever sells this OctiGrip here in Australia, they're very lucky they met me, because I bought tons of it. I'm probably his biggest customer now. And now you guys are all going to buy it because it's fantastic for everything. Love it. It is a great product. Oh, bloody thing. Oh, God, that is so good. Yep. Winner. Like my legs. We're getting ready to go, and because our anchor is our lifeline, when we gave the boys the chance to put chain rainbow on the chain, they only had blue, so I think that's at 10 metres, but sorry, at 20 metres, and so I'm putting blue at 10 metres, and I'm going to do it over a couple of them. We've been sort of guessing it up till now, but because we're going to unknown anchorages pretty quickly, we need to sort this out. The other thing we're doing is we're paying out all the chain, and I intend to either cut off about 30 metres at the end, because I've got 100 metres, and I'm not really sure on the Australian coast that I'm ever going to use 100 metres. I mean, I'd have to be in 20 metres of water. If we get to the Solomon Islands or Fiji or somewhere, maybe. So the other thing I've got is 100 metres of rope underneath the chain. So our chain box is full of rope, and then it's got 100, or a line, and then it's got 100 metres of chain on it, and it's building up in a pyramid. And I'm going to, when we pull it back in, I'm going to pay it out all the way around the outside, so the majority of the chain is laying flattish on the bottom of the box, and then hopefully we won't have as much castling up under the windlass. But I sort of made this modification. The windlass box that we have here, I had to actually fabricate because it wasn't part of the original design. The original boat didn't have a chain locker. It had a drum winch, which I believe was very good. The only problem was the access was through one of these hatches here, and that wouldn't have been that easy to deal with, right against the bulkhead back here, so you would have had to go in head first to do anything if anything untoward had happened. So we put the Muir Cheetah 2500 watt motor in here, which is just a brilliant windlass. And it's paying it out metre by metre, marking it where it goes, putting on the chain rainbow, and hopefully that'll be enough. And I'm basically doing the whole chain while we're at it. We thought it was a good idea. Don't know why I'm riding on it.
So you remember.
It's not going to last. Yeah, getting a bit old. Righto. Okay, so I've paid out 80 metres. That's a lot of chain. That gives us a scope of around sort of, I guess, 17 metres, 17 or 18 metres depth at 5 to 1. I think that's more than enough. I was going to cut off the remaining 20 metres, but there's not 100 metres. There's probably only about 85 metres in there.
And we paid for 100, right?
No, we paid for a lot of kilos. I think you don't buy by length. Anyway, I've got a joiner in the middle, but what I am going to do is get rid of some of the rope that's in there and use that as a backup for our other anchor. So we've got a spare mantis, like a mantis type anchor in the other hatch over there, and I'm inclined to not have chain on it, just to give us an emergency anchor. Just something we can hoik over with a rope on it, because obviously we're going to have to hook it over the windlass. We haven't got a second windlass. So I know some boats do, but we don't, and we're not going to have another windlass.
Yeah, but we might need to put it out the back too.
Yeah, and it's an option. I can take it out the back and chuck it out to belay the boat or to anchor the boat in a current. But yeah, so I'll do that, and I'll remove some of the rope or the line that's in here. We'll leave this end hooked up.
Yeah. So we're just giving out a freshwater washout. Now we've got all the chain out. And
give it another rinse off once we put it back in.
yeah, okay.
Right.
Fine.
Because we've got so much chain, and now we're going to have just as much because we've decided not to. I'm going to try to do this with it as much as possible, the entire 80 metres, so that we end up with the perimeter of the box, which is going to carry most of the chain, full, and then a lesser of a castle. We'll still end up with some castling, but there's nothing much we can do about it. We've just cut the line, the rope, to 10 metres, which is more than enough. So it gives us in total about nearly 100 metres of scope. And we used our hot knife to cut it, obviously because that's what we do. We always use a hot knife, don't we? Now we've got one.
Now we've bought one, yeah. I mean, Russ built kayaks for years without one. God knows why.
Life-changing. That's a life-changing thing, the hot knife. Anyway. And there's a massive castle of chain on the bottom of the seabed there. Note to boat builders, finish your edges, because there's been some blood, sweat, swearing and tears going on here. So I've gashed myself open on the edge of the windlass shelf, which I probably never finished because it was one of those out of mind, out of sight things. And here we are, 18 months on and paying the price. So I've got a couple of slashes, but the important thing is what's in there. Look at that. Okay, so you can see it there, it's laying all flat, and we're down to the last 10 metres here. And what I've done is I've gone all the way round the perimeter in a big rectangle to get it all nice and flat. But look at that, so the distance between that and the windlass now is about 50 centimetres. And that's sort of what you want. You don't want to have a big castle in the middle. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm bleeding all over the boat. Janet's complaining because she's been polishing all day. I say, well, tough shit, because I'm in pain. I'm not really in pain. Yeah, I am. Anyway, I'm always in pain.
Is that in pain or a pain?
I am a pain. Righto, what an afternoon. It's just tremendous.
And it's just starting to get cold. So
yeah, it's starting to chill off, and we're just about finished. We've got about another 10 metres to pull up, and that'll be it. So let's do it. Righto, so you might as well just pull it up. In the hatch. Yep, keep going. Yep, keep going. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. Our Saka, our big Saka 35, number 6. Righto, up she comes. Yep, that's it. Yep, oh, love it. Alright, bring him up. That's it. Perfect. Job done, we did it. That's cool, that's taken a good hour or so, but it's been good to get that done. Yep, well done.